Well, hello again to you very fine and wonderful people across the globe and beyond. My name is Sam. I'd like to welcome you once again to the newest episode of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where for another week we'll be delving into the realm of all the new releases, the trailers, and the news that has come across the landscape of the last week. So let's not waste time of usual introductions. Let's get talking all things media that we do have in particular for this week. On the first of the new releases for the week will be a major overall focus of one of the big blockbusters of the summer season. That has quite the array of opinions, mixed outcomes, and debate on the focus of casting, historical accuracy, and some other elements akin to this. But you'll be seeing in this case that through it all, this will be given a focus with simple tagline of "Defy the Gods," as the return of Christopher Nolan bringing his all-new big summer blockbuster with a focus adaptation on one of the greatest pieces of literature that we have, with the release of the take on the Odyssey. Now, based on the book and stories by Homer, the film will tell the story of Odysseus, played by Matt Damon, the legendary Greek king of Ithaca, on his long and perilous journey home following the Trojan War, chronicling his encounters with mythical creatures such as the Cyclops, Polyhemius, Sirens, and the witch goddess Circe, while attempting to reunite with his wife Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway. Now, reception on this new film has truly defied the gods and has been received very strongly, with positive reception and praise on the performances, especially to Matt Damon, Pattinson, Holland, Hathaway, and Leguizamo, the cinematography, set pieces, genre blending, and being one of this year's best films after a whole wave of doubt, though most complaints seem to be aimed at the lack of the accurate cinema format to watch. As it's filmed in 70mm IMAX, but there's very little screens of this format outside the US and Canada, and hopefully they'll be fixed in the future. And if you want to check it out for yourself, you can catch this film out now in cinemas. Our second film this week will be a focus for less of a massive summer blockbuster, but more in the focus of something that is seen as more of a long-lasting summer romance, as the journey of these two have gone through many locations and hardships, and is all wrapping up to be coming to an end with one big romantic conclusion, as we have the release of the finale film version of the popular series with Heartstopper Forever. And the film will follow on from the popular series and book novel adaptation, and will focus on the continuing love and relationship of Nick and Charlie, but things may soon become a bit of a hurdle for them as challenges lay ahead for both of them, with Nick getting ready to leave for university and Charlie taking on more new responsibilities in school. The reception on this finale has been pretty well received, with praise on the performances, representation, relatable issues, and for being respectful and emotional send-off of the popular series. If you want to check it out for yourself, then catch the full film and TV series yourself now on Netflix. Then moving over to television for the week will be the first turning to the side of the sports for the week. And while the world will be turning in for the last of the matches of the overall massive game of football, it looks like this streamer will be focused on another massive sport, and from a professional that you may not be overly familiar with, but they have the ego and skill to make it his game, I think. As we are staying with the Netflix for the focus of the new golf-based comedy with the series known as The Hawk. The series follows Lonnie the Hawk Hawkins, played by Will Ferrell, a washed-up former #1 ranked golfer in the world, who looks set to recapture his magic of his peak performance of 2004 by competing in the US Open, all to compete his career Grand Slam. Reception of this new series, however, has not been the most well received by critics that praise the concept and Ferrell's performance, though the narrative and humor can leave a little to be desired. If we want to hit the fairways, you can catch this full series now on Netflix that seems to be doing all right with audiences. And our last new release this week will be the focus of a bit more of an action-based project, and one in the focus of a female lead action-based ordeal that from someone that may have things planned out must find a solution in a situation may have gone not the way it was supposed to go, as we have the release of the all-new miniseries that's known as Lucky. Now, this series will follow the titular character played by Anya Taylor-Joy, a con artist who ends up on the run after a multi-million-dollar heist goes sideways. Now being pursued by the FBI and a ruthless crime boss, Lucky will soon have to fight for her life and for a way out. Reception on this series so far seems to be decently received, with praise in the lead performance and the focus of the narrative, even if it could feel a little by the numbers. The focal performance helps to bring the appeal overall. And if you want to check it out for yourself, you can catch the first 2 episodes now on Apple TV Plus, with a new episode releasing every Wednesday. With all that regards now, that's all the new releases we do have this week. Yo, I did it! Moving to trailers, the first one is going to be quite the ordeal of a focus that at first, when I heard that this felt like it could be something simple concept of the story of a real life person, but as the teaser and reports about the project became more clear in the grander scale from the different festivals, it seems this is going to be a comedy and concept that will be going all out on being a bit more insane. As we got the trailer for the all-new title from Oscar winner Alejandro G. Inarritu with the first look at Digger. Now, the film will follow Digger Rockwell, that's played by Tom Cruise, the most powerful man in the world who must race against time to prove that he is humanity's savior before the disaster that he has caused destroys everything. Now, the idea of this doesn't sound the most elaborate and insane, as the director has made some strange concepts before. I mean, just look at Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance for an example of a weird viewing trip experience. But the ideals of this seems like it going all in a bit a little more out there and all in mad. It's also strange to see Cruise in a tile with this level of makeup and prosthetics. The last I think I remember was Tropic Thunder, but he was great in that. But I'm interested to see his approach to the concept of a lead in a black comedy when he usually is the lead of a lot of action-based tiles. But after watching the trailer, I'm even more intrigued by this, and I see there's another big tile that could be making a bit of a presence in the awards circuit later this year, but I guess we'll see in due time, with this film digging its way into cinemas from the 2nd of October. But speaking of awards season films, this season on the way, the next one will be more in the focus of a biographical tale, with the next entry as we'll take a trip back to about half a century ago, to be given focus to the tale of the battle and education through hardship that in this case, a champion will be created and the history of cinema will find another all-time classic being created, as you have the release of a trailer for the all-new true story film that's known as I Play Rocky. Now the film will follow the story of a younger Sylvester Stallone, in this played by Anthony Ippolito, who tries to get into the industry but sees it as a struggle for not being seen as a star. In retaliation, he sets out to write his own screenplay for a film of Rocky, betting everything on himself to play the lead character against seemingly impossible odds, with the result of the ultimate underdog story being the most famous of underdog films. It can be said that if you ever build a list of most influential films of cinema, I'm sure that a few will agree Rocky Balboa deserves a spot on that list, and seeing a story of how this all comes about is an interesting one. I also have to say that they chose someone that looks the actual image of Stallone back in the day, that if you told me the first look image they released a few weeks ago was a photo from his late 20s, then I would probably believe you. I feel he has a lot of the look and tone of the actor down well as well as the voice, and after seeing the footage, I'm honestly impressed, in most cases very more interested in checking this out. I see this as similar to an original Rocky, isn't there a film getting some award buzz? Once the reception is good, of course, for this, but I guess we'll see by the time this film makes its way into the ring of cinemas from the 6th of November. The last of the trailers for this week would be another form of historical epic in focus, but where the big tentpole film of the week is from a journey in scripture written around 3,000 years ago, or a little more, this is more a project more closer in history and closer to home for me, but will show the case of how one small change and ripple effect against a higher power will change the course of history. As Paul Greengrass brings us the first trailer for his upcoming new historical true story, the trailer for Uprising. Now set in England in 1381 and to the backdrop of the Peasants' Revolt, you will see a farmer played by Andrew Garfield lead a rebellion against the forces of the then 14-year-old King Richard II. I can say that we really don't get a lot of these historical war settings akin to this as much compared to the wars from the previous century, and there's always something interesting in this approach of them to some parts of history that are not often told to death in so many forms of media. But from the trailer and the performances and style, I'm interested in the approach that are going with this, and I feel this will bring us back more tiles and film focus on conflicts further back in the past. I'm interested to see this new tile, and we'll check it out when it does. And you can too when it releases. An Uprising marks way into cinemas from the 11th of September in the US and October 9th else. For all that regards now, that's all the trailers we have for this week.
Thursday, October 31st.
Now we are back here in the news section, and we got a fresh and new and tasty serving of hodgepodge to serve up this week that will consist of a few areas with a splash of superhero topics, a couple of surprise project unveilings with various opinions on the choice and outcome, and a few dates and castings of the serving will be the best before. Let's delve in to give us a taste of what we have in store for the big hefty serving of stories from this week. So we will start with the all big superhero news, and while we are about 2 weeks away from the newest title, The Friendly Neighborhood Wall Crawler, and the tickets are poorly on sale for the big team up this Christmas next week, it looks like there will be some discussions of projects looking a little further into the future, with the first one going a fair bit more cosmic for a project that initially was scrapped from a TV concept to a different format now, and being revived from it all, as was announced this week that the new film based on the character of Nova is in the works, and the film was being written by Loki's showrunner Michael Waldron. Now the character is based on one of 3 known names of either Richard Rider, Frankie Ray, or Sam Alexander, and was a member of the Nova Corps that we last saw in the first Guardians film, and last heard about being decimated by Thanos before the events of Infinity War, with them having powers of flight, enhanced strength, and the ability to withstand major injury. I feel that the case will be the best at the last the race of citizens that will look to provide the peace in not any form. Surprised it's taken this long for them to appear in the MCU. Initially was supposed to be made into a TV series before that was initially scrapped apparently sometime last year, but seems it was reportedly reworked into a film after it was spotted on Waldron's WGA profile, and like it was going to be announced next week at Comic-Con, as well as a supposed casting, which one that could be from the constant discussion of Ryan Gosling, but another name I've I've heard floating around as a frontrunner is Stranger Things star Joe Keery playing the role, so in all fairness I think could be a decent choice, but nothing has been made official. But now I'm sure we will see what they are true by next week at Comic-Con, but if there's anything of word about this, I'll let you know in another episode. Then moving from Marvel to DC news, the first will be a very brief and is update to a last story from previous week. I cut it out initially for the episode, but after initially being reported last week, it's now been made official that Scream 7 and YouTuber Jimmy Tatro will be portraying the voice of Gorilla Grodd for the DCU. I'm intrigued to see his approach to this, and will take on the character from the Jimmy Olsen series that he will debut in, and likely will soon cross paths in the future with The Flash. But I guess we will see down the line. I like the approach of more unknown names getting some chance with these roles, so I can guess we will see what will come with the performance in due time in this particular instance. But speaking of returning cast, we have an update to another hero that will be making their debut into the DCU real soon, and is one that we have seen not too long ago, but looks like it'll also be one of those to have salvaged from the previous attempt of the cinema universe of heroes. As announced this week that Zola Maduruna will be coming back as taking the hero of the Beetle, and making his DCU debut in next year's Man of Tomorrow. Now, I'm glad he's going to get a second chance, because I honestly felt bad that he was unveiled in a film that was honestly decent, and his take on the hero was pretty good. It's just a shame we released him underperformed from the announcement of the DC Universe reboot, but I appreciate he's one of the few that was saved. I think there's a few more that still be brought back over, and one that's up in the air kind of as regards as Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, but we definitely don't know yet. And given the sense of focus with the villain being Brainiac, I'm sure it'll be a helpful ally for the Man of Steel, but I'm sure we will see how this will be handled with the rest of the other heroes and characters appearing in this follow-up, but I'm sure we'll be safe line with the film's release next July. And the last superhero news for this week is one that will be some excitement, but also a bit of a caveat for one of the most anticipated follow-ups, as earlier this week we got the first official screen test look at the new sequel to The Batman with Pattinson, and all looks really cool. It seems unclear if the lights in the suit is a new upgrade from the Heartstopper. Now, all this is well and good, but there is one catch to all of this, and that is the case that it is unfortunately been announced that the film has once again been delayed, but only by an extra 4 months, and will now be dropping into cinemas on the 18th of February 2028 from initial third delay to October 2nd. Next year. Now, while it's annoying with it being delayed again, I personally can accept it in the form of being a patient man, and I can trust the approach of Reeves with the project, because keep in mind there was a few reasons for this delay at the time. The first being from the writer's strikes that happened 3 years ago while we were penning it following the first time released. Then it was also making the Penguin series that bridged the two films together. He went through some personal family or health issues that he does not need to go deep into. In the case of filming the project, post-production, and being a producer on some other projects like the opening Crusaders second season and Clayface projects. Those I see, but then the case of Pattinson also is busy with him on press currently for The Odyssey, off the film festivals for Primetime, and then back on the press for Dune Part 3 later this year, and then who knows what else he may be filming into the new year, but I'm sure they will find the time and focus overall for the full filming this. Again, as I said, I trust Matt Reeves in making it a proper solid character-driven narrative following the original, and of course his 2 films, The Planet of the Apes reboot that he wrote and directed. I'm sure will be fine with a slight 4-month delay, but I'm sure you'll see more updates and looks at all this cast and action soon enough as he head deeper into production for the release now hopefully in early 2028. Moving over now to release date focuses that connects to Bats, and the first one is with a surprise announcement of coming out, and it's one I didn't expect at all, but something spooky and on a monster scale will be on its way back for another array of misadventures, as it announced that we are getting a 5th movie in the Hotel Transylvania series with a film entitled The Haunting of Hotel Transylvania, now set for release next year on October 8th, 2027. It's an interesting concept that I was not expecting another film entry, given there is already another project in the series coming out next year with Hotel Transylvania. So unless this was incorporated and turned from the series into a movie, I have no idea, but I guess we can see if both of them come out next year. The other big question that people have with this announcement is, will the original cast be all coming back? As in the 4th film with Transformania, Adam Sandler and I believe Kevin James didn't come back for this film, but I think Sandler being replaced by YouTuber. I think he was busy with some other projects or something at the time, and I don't know about Kevin James, but the replacement of YouTuber did some great voice impressions. Honestly, didn't do a bad job, but I'm sure we'll see if the same cast as the last film or if they will be all back for a further film around, but I guess we'll see what will come of this title before it releases in October of next year. Keeping in the horrors for the release date announcements, we got kind of an update in the official first look at the return of the long-running horror franchise, but going all the way back to where it all began. As earlier this week, alongside the first brief teaser of the series, we got the official release date for the Friday the 13th prequel series with Crystal Lake, now set for release on the 15th of October with Peacock. Now this will mainly follow the mother of Jason with Pamela, who was played by Linda Cardellini, who will serve as an origins the killer of this summer camp. To be fair, it has been a while while since this character has been present in any form of media, so the approach of the prequel in the series of their multiple films and other media will be an interesting one to observe on how it will all come about and lead into the original film itself, but I'm sure it will be interesting to see what comes about this by release in October, but I'll give it a watch with interest. The last and release date focused with the case of heading over to one of the big cities in the States and checking for well-known, rundown, but familiar place to get a drink or two, as another round is being served up, as announced that the 18th season of the popular series of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has gotten an official release date, with it set to start airing for the 17th of August. It seems that even after being ongoing for well over 20 years now, that there's still some appeal to come from the show. I'm sure it'll be more of its adventures and concepts being brought together in mind, with one seeming to take a jab at the AI takeover of jobs. Going off of the response to the poster, people thinking it was done with AI, but it was confirmed to be made by an artist and designed and modeled to look like AI slop, and I can appreciate the jab and joke at it with as well. It's quite a good poster, I have to say. I'm interested to see what they will come for this title in due time, but I guess we'll see when it comes about when it releases next month in particular. On to casting for this week, and we're heading over to the realm of the supernatural for another story, and then this will be a bit of a prequel tale, because we've seen confirmation of the casting of the main duo for an upcoming project based on the long-running popular horror series, somewhat based on true events, whose choices in Memphis could all be a ruse if it was unveiled that Amanda Fix, something very bad is going to happen, and Gareth Waring from The Long Walk has been cast as the young Ed and Lorraine Warren in the upcoming Conjuring prequel of First Communion. It is still a strange thing they are really trying to push the focus of this franchise on many of their well-known cases, and I do wonder what they will be covering, whatever the first case was in particular, because I know there's been the focus area where they were still accused constantly of being con artists, or became more of the possible real but skeptical approach, but I can see they look close to the original castings of the film series, so I'm sure you will see what will come of this project by its release next September, but I'll probably get an idea more of the project in due time and more stuff online as it goes into development, but I guess we'll see. This last set of casting news is one that's already been established, but in this case will be a change as unexpected, and one that I find as being a little disappointing, as a bit of an update to the upcoming video game adaptation of the God of War series, as on Friday it was announced that Kratos himself of Ryan Hurst was seriously injured on the set of the series and will likely have to be recast for the show. Now, the injury he suffered was that he tore his bicep from what I guess was a bad onset injury, and in case it was, well, we'll see a few weeks of healing, and then we'll need another few weeks of him to train it back to the size and level that he had for this series of The Look in particular. Now, it seems their approach would be to recast, avoid having to wait for the recovery time, but the main issue is that they have already recorded apparently 4 of the episodes of the first season, and I feel they are better off just delaying production on the film what they can without the main lead, and film what they can without the main lead, and then film the rest of the series when he's back in shape. Now, this is not the first time a series on Amazon that is based in the game has had some delay in production recently, as the upcoming Tomb Raider series also faced a delay in filming, as Sophie Turner also suffered a bad back injury on set, and they have to pause production back in late March. It seems they have given time for her to recover, so I feel it's best to do for this as well, especially with the season already filming half of the episodes for that particular season. Now, likely case we'll see will come up at this project, and have to hold off on casting who will get as Kratos now and start doing the production, but if there's any new change, I'll try and let you know down in a later episode. Moving from casting to project announcements, the first one I had to know who decided his approach of bringing the series back in some form. If the outcome and how it is being made is currently unclear, but looks like a group of musical animals are making a return to the spotlight in some form. As announced this week that we're getting an all-new reboot film based on Alvin and the Chipmunks, with it aiming for release in about 2 years' time, I believe. Now, this was also unveiled with the first look image of the main chipmunk, and while it does look close to the design of the film, why are they giving him some questionable expression with an and more fuzzier hoodie is a bit of a weird one. Now, they have also said they were implementing into a lot of short form based content across social media and YouTube, and I wonder will they even have much of an appeal or interest in this, especially how it was back in the day with all the chipmunk based music soundtracks. However, the real big issue I have with this project is the case that there's a possibility this is a project may heavily being created with AI, and that brings a bit of a concern with it all. As well, that looks really off-putting and could have easily been given jobs for many artists instead of the usual slop that we get from all this production things. But I guess what I've seen in the report is accurate enough. Now, I'm not sure how much of the relevance this series will have, or even their case will have something connected to the previous series of films that ended around 2015, but I guess we'll find out with the release of the reboot. If anyone knows about this comes about, I'll let you know in a later episode too. The second project announcement this week will be taking us over to a place that seems to be uncertain of its continuation, and that's with the Slim Lost Cause, with a few of them, as he once again with the live action Disney remix. As well, we see the likes of the Paul Polynesian Princess and The Rock not having the best of box office hauls recently, and the future seems uncertain, it does look like another project may be coming along, and that's with some that's still being made. It's getting announced this week that a live-action remake of the 2009 film of Princess and the Frog is in the works, and the big name attached to this right now is the actor and playwright Coleman Domingo penning the script for the project. And the case with the approach of this does not sound too bad, and most projects I've seen Domingo be involved with are pretty solid. Though I feel in all sense, I'm not sure if him doing a live-action film based on the Princess Tiana would make the most sense. I think if we're given the approach to this, instead of a live-action remake, let him work on the initially planned sequel animated series for Tiana instead of giving it clear writing talents with that, and then even the approach to rework that into a film or follow up the project and provide the 2D animation concept that they alluded to going back to for future projects. But in this case, I'll let him give his writing approach to all of this and see what may come of this title. Now, as things stand, and similar to other live action remakes, there is no indication of when we expect this project, but if I hear anything about this, I'll let you know in a later episode. The last of the project announcements and stories for this week is with the focus of the return of another popular horror icon that has been around the movie and media scene for about 50 years now as well. It seems that our dreams are about to become haunted once more, as announced on Monday of this week that the new remake of Nightmare on Elm Street is in the works over at Paramount, and will likely see the return of the Dreamwalker himself, of Freddy Krueger. Now, the character's had a bit of a journey in film over the years, with around 9 total projects since their inception in 1984 that spawned 5 sequels, Wes Craven's New Nightmares, the spin-off against Jason Voorhees, and the first of the remakes from 2010. So it looks like he's getting a second reboot treatment this time around. Now, it'll be worth seeing in the case if there will be an appeal or interest in the saga of the series, as we've had a lot of attempts with legacy horror icons coming back, and outcomes for a few range from decent or solid with like some Halloween 2018 to an absolute mess like the Texas Chainsaw one from about 3 or 4 years ago. So we'll have to see where it all falls amongst them. Now, I think the best approach to this will be get someone that can give a new life to the Nightmare Killer and get a fresh face that knows and makes something compelling horror, like what they're doing with Curry Barker doing with the Texas Chainsaw. So I'm sure we'll see what will come of this in due time. If you hear any new updates on this, I will let you know in a later episode. But what do you make of these stories? Will you check out the Noah film, and who do you see portray the character? Do you think Tatar will do well as a sentient gorilla? Are you happy for Bluebeard's return to the DCU? Do you think this will be the last of the delays of the Batman? Will you be checking out the 5th Hotel Transylvania film? Will this new Friday the 13th series be a success or a mess? Are you excited for another Always Sunny season? What are your opinions on the casting for the Conjuring prequel? Do you think they should wait for Hearst to recover or recast the God of War? Is there any point of another Alvin and the Chipmunks project? Will be watching the live action Princess and the Frog film? And do you think a Nightmare on Elm Street remake will work out or be a mess itself? Now, what do you think down below? In all that regards, that's all the news we have this week. So it has been a bit of a time for this segment. It's been a while I've done, so I decided I wanted to give a bit of a shout out to someone here and help them in a special shout out in the case. I sort of 2 big ones personally. But in the case of this, I want to start with the focal one I have here, and there's one I want to shout out. This one need to see some more viewers and followers too, as they spent a lot of time and effort into the production things. I want to have a successful start, but there was a creator I have followed for a while now, known as Aberosiite. I had initially followed them for a friend of mine during the pandemic era, and up to now, where they initially were a cosplay creator, but late last year decided to retire from the community, and from that decision has morphed into becoming a streamer. And this is where last week they began their streaming VTuber debut as the Phantom Thief, where they have been streaming on a few days of YouTube, with their first week debut of one a day, and a few this week, and have been evolving their content from a variety of media, from cozy titles, co-op games, anime-based titles like Persona and Genshin, and even a few spooky games, as long as you promise to hold their hand. They've been an engineering creator to watch. I just wanted to give them a shout out, and for you to go and give them a follow on their YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description below, and to go support them. I think from what I have from the recording of this episode, their next streams is Monday, Tuesday, and I think they're doing a holiday on Saturday. Normally it's Fridays, but just they're busy this week. So I would say go give them a support and drop in. I'll probably be in the comments when I'm on this. So go check them out. And let's help build our channel up and help support the small creator gear up, grow in this process. And this the second special segment shout out is one that I want to personally give a shout out to. And this is to wish someone very important to me. Still always is a very happy birthday. I know it's been a while since we last spoke, and since it's been a tough journey. And inshallah, I do miss you a lot. And our daily conversations, you really helped me sort of out of a dark place. And I'm sorry if I sound like I'm just preaching here and just sound a bit desperate a lot of times, but while I have no idea on what you're doing, I just want you to know that I'll always be proud of you. I'm proud of your progress in the gym, getting the big muscles, your dedication to your 3D model designs, your interests in conversations I would be interested in listening to for hours on end, even into the long hours of the night, and all of the things I loved about you. I hope that one day we can experience all that again in your future, to be like it once was in some form, but in the case that no matter what the distance or what you may pursue, that I'll always be your #1 fan and will root for your success and achievements. I hope to be for now until the sun burns out or I take my last breath on this planet, where you will always have a special place in my heart, mind, and soul, and always will. I will still always love you to this day, and I want to wish you a very happy birthday, my dear Scott. And for all, go check out her wonderful 3D models and to support them and purchase one from them because they deserve the success. I hope they have a wonderful day and hopefully someday again to be close once more, even a sense of a close friendship, because I would really like that again. But that is, I hope you go support the channel. And if you want to get a special shout out, just let me know down in the comments or on my socials, and I'll try and shout you when I can. Just once it's respectful, of course. But yeah, go check both of them out. Go check out the YouTube channel, and I'll link for another few down below.
My name is Homer.
In any case, with all of that, that ends episode 165. We're usually conclusion revenues for probably about half an hour at this point. Anyways, I'm going to fly through this conclusion, just give you updates on what's coming on the channel. So, reviews wise, I meant to get around to actually finishing up Last of Us this week. It's just the case sometimes things get in the way, and then this heat wave has been knocking me out unconscious, and in this case, I'm just busy, doing driving practice to hopefully get to tests in the next couple of weeks or so, other variations of things. But yeah, I will get around to doing the Last of Us review, more Snack box office ones, more creation genre stuff. After Last of Us, we'll do TDC and wholesome movies and stuff. I need to get around to a few of them. If I try and get to Odyssey in the next few days, I need to go watch Minions and Monsters if that's pretty good. There's probably a few other ones I need to catch up on in regards to things, so I'll get around to those. Gameplay wise, I'm going to upload more VODs. I have a couple more of Tone of Your Life ready to upload. I'm going to edit a few of them together and then upload them when I can, as well as the case I'll get caught up on my streams and I'll get back to streaming, that kind of thing. I've been sort of like lackadaisy a little bit on them in the last few days. I think the heat has been a bit difficult to really properly stream this regard to stuff. But I'll get back to them, as well as I'll get back to DK Bonanza, Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk, Star Wars Rebels, and I'll get to some other games like Resident Evil, Atomic Heart, Atomfall, Metal Gear Solid, Assassin's Creed, and all their variations of games from all different genres and styles. So look for those down the line. I'll try and figure out some stuff because we're getting close to like the spooky months to think of some horror games maybe for October or something, but we can figure it out. In the case of long form stuff, the AI choice video will be coming along in due time. The rewatchathon will be coming along as well. Horror Moves 4. With more time lapse, I'm going to try and upload that Pikachu one. I'm going to download the streams and just kind of like time lapse those when I can. But yeah, those will be coming along in due course, and I'll be trying to do more variations of long form content. So if you have ideas, let me know down below. With that regards, now I'm going to the episode there for now. So if you like what you see here, want to see more from me and more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. So I'll do stuff every single week, and I'm trying to reach a goal of 752,000 subs by this year. Thank you all to about the new subscribers that have come in the last couple of days. I appreciate it. I think the sense of like a method I've tried the last few days seems to be working. So hopefully we get a few more here, and I might try a few other videos of promoting them in that particular instance, see where we go. Let me know your thoughts this week from all discussed this week, from new releases, trailers, and news stories, and just give me your thoughts on everything discussed this week. There's a lot, I know there is. And if you want to get 10% off pure crack, use my code Sam Harrison. It's all one word, all caps, and leave the link in the description below. Get you some tasty beverage. Go check out those special segment videos special segment people I talked about down below. I have the links down in the description. In that regards, now I'm going to leave the episode there for now. So as always, you will stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things, and keeping you because no one's do what you do. Now I've been your host Sam, of course, and I shall see you on that next one. And I'm gonna go to bed. Take care. And I'll see you later.